And then on the industrial side of our investing, which I spend a lot of time in, this is the time for vertically integrated manufacturing and the industrial titans of tomorrow. I really think that we're going to see like the Vanderbilts of tomorrow, building companies right now that are going to be lasting for decades. So, just for context, I spent the first half of my career in hardware and manufacturing. So I've seen, operations like chrome plating, die casting, plastic injection molding, circuit board, surface mount technology, final assembly, test, and packaging. So everything from like, tiny little parts being made to huge assemblies coming together and being packaged and sent off to consumers. And been on the floor of manufacturers like Foxconn, Pegatron, Sanmina, and Flextronics in Asia. And separately as a consumer, I've seen huge successes in companies like Oura Ring and iPhone. But often those eclipse all the failures that have happened within consumer electronics, consumer products, hardware, and not only that, but the manufacturers that support them and some of these physical industries that support them. And I think the takeaway for me, having spent so many years in hardware, was that hardware was too hard. It was so expensive to get a hardware product off the ground, and it still is today. But another takeaway for me was that running factories could be great for like a PE roll-up strategy, but terrible for early stage venture if you wanted top decile performance. And that was largely because, you need so much capital to launch something like a manufacturing like factory. And same thing, if you're doing this in agriculture, it takes a lot of money to build a bunch of farms and a bunch of robotics to be generating plants. And same thing in construction. You can get these businesses off the ground and they can be great, but are they going to grow by 200x, after your dilution, or even 100x after all of your dilution of your initial investment? Because what happens with these companies is they would raise one round of capital and like 6 to 12 months later, they're like, we're growing. And so we're going to need more capital to keep growing because we need more equipment, more
Totally.
space, more people. And so like the operating expenses and the upfront like capital asset expenses are just so huge over time. And I think some of that is still true today. But I really think this is the time where we're seeing the shift in operating expenses or OpEx going down. We're still going to need a lot of equipment and a lot of space to launch businesses like this, but you can do more with less. And that may mean less employees, but on a whole, across the United States, it's actually going to be more employees in manufacturing and agriculture and construction, because these are the industries we need, and we need so much more capacity than we do today. But we can bolster those things with AI and robotics so that we're not strapped down by so much expense to get these companies off the ground that it doesn't even make sense for our asset class. So I'm super excited because I get to be a geek in like my early career area and be investing in venture scale businesses in this space.